The phone buzzed with venom as my stepmother Carla's voice sliced through the line. "We're taking what's ours from your dad's inheritance. Get out of the house now." Her words dripped with malice. But I kept my cool. "Talk to my lawyer," I shot back, hanging up before she could spew more poison. "My name's Elena Carter, a 34-year-old financial consultant in Chicago. 3 weeks ago, my father lost his fight with cancer, leaving behind a tangled mess of relationships and a hefty estate. Carla, his wife of 5 years, had always despised how close Dad and I were. She'd spent years trying to pry us apart, but Dad wasn't blind to her games. What Carla didn't know, he'd already outsmarted her. In his final month as the cancer tightened its grip, Dad and I had some raw, real talks about his legacy. He'd seen Carla's true colors, her control freak tendencies, the way she'd block me from visiting, claiming he needed rest. Or snatch the phone when I called. "Elena," he'd said during one of our secret meetings in his office, his voice steady despite the exhaustion, "I've watched how she treats you. I know what she's after, and I'll be damned if she takes what's yours." A meticulous planner to the end, he'd work with his lawyer to lock everything down, trusts, documents. Even the family home where my childhood memories lingered, legally mine months before he passed. Carla's smug little victory call? She had no clue it was about to blow up in her face. Sitting in my apartment, I smirked at the phone, pouring myself a glass of wine. Tomorrow Dad's lawyer would drop a bombshell on her. Sometimes, the sweetest payback is letting someone's greed trip them up. I flipped open my laptop, scanning the estate papers one last time. The next few days were going to be a hell of a ride. Growing up, it was just Dad and me after Mom died of breast cancer when I was 12. He built his real estate empire from scratch, and we were a team, him teaching me the ropes of business. Never missing a school play or a late-night homework session. That bond shaped me into who I am. Then Carla slithered in. She'd been a receptionist at one of his properties, and 6 months later, they were hitched. I was 29, busy with my own life, but I saw her game early, canceling our dinners, dodging my calls, redecorating the house to erase Mom's memory. She blew through Dad's money on luxury cars and designer threads, claiming she had to look the part. Over time, she pushed out his friends, nitpicked anyone who dared cross her. But 2 years ago, when his health tanked, Dad caught on. Late one night, he found her rifling through his files, grilling him about his will. "I married her because I was lonely," he confessed during a chemo session. His eyes sharp despite the drip. "But I won't let my mistakes screw you over, Elena. You're my legacy." We spent his last months bulletproofing his plans, videos, legal docs, the works. He knew Carla would spin me as the scheming daughter, so he recorded every decision, clear as day. Now as I flipped through old photos in my apartment, I braced myself. The real fight was about to kick off, but I was ready. The next morning, I met James, Dad's lawyer and old friend, at his office. His face was all business as he laid it out. "Carla's lawyer called last night. They're contesting the will, saying your dad wasn't in his right mind." I clenched my jaw, but James grinned faintly. "They don't know we've got video proof." Dad had recorded everything. His reasoning, his clarity, backed by doctor's notes. Carla was pushing for a rush hearing, claiming she needed cash for household expenses. She didn't realize I'd already taken over the bills. "Hearings tomorrow," James said. "They're moving fast, but that's their mistake. They've got no time to fake evidence. And we've got it all locked down." That night, sleep dodged me. I kept replaying Dad's final days, Carla hovering, gatekeeping his hospital room, acting like I was the intruder. But we'd already set the trap. I pulled out his last birthday card. "Sometimes, Elena, the best revenge is letting greed eat itself." Tomorrow Carla would choke on those words. The courthouse buzzed with tension as the hearing began. Carla strutted in, decked out in a pricey black dress, smirking like she'd already won. Her grown kids tagged along, probably to play up the devoted family act. "Don't let them get to you," James muttered. "The evidence will bury them." Carla's lawyer went first, spinning a sob story, me as the gold-digging daughter, her as the saintly wife who sacrificed everything. He even claimed Dad meant for her to keep the house they built together. Bullshit. She'd been in his life 5 years, leeching off the empire he'd spent decades creating. James stood, calm as steel. "Your Honor, we've got video of Mr. Carter explaining his wishes. Plus medical proof he was sharp till the end." The room hushed as Dad's face lit up the screen, tired but fierce. "I'm of sound mind," he said. "Elena's my heir. Carla gets what's in the prenup, nothing more. The business, the house? That's my daughter's. Carla's smirk melted. Her lawyer squirmed as James piled on medical reports, logs. Then the knockout punch. Security footage of Carla sneaking through Dad's office, plus bank records showing she tried siphoning cash before he died. Carla snapped. He promised me everything. She yelled, bolting up. Elena brainwashed him. I deserved that house, I was his wife. The judge banged his gavel. Sit down, Mrs. Carter. You're not helping yourself. Her kids shrank in their seats as whispers rippled through the room. James sealed it with Dad's last video detailing Carla's schemes. The judge didn't flinch. Based on this evidence, I uphold Mr. Carter's final wishes. And, he added, eyeing Carla, I'm ordering an audit of your financial moves during the marriage. Any funny business will go straight to the cops. Carla went ghost white. Her kids bailed without a glance. The grieving widow mask was dust. Outside, James handed me an envelope. Your dad wanted you to have this after. Inside? A letter and photos of us at our first property deal. My dearest Elena, he wrote. If you're reading this, we won. I knew Carla would overplay her hand. The business is yours, our legacy. You were always my real partner. Tears stung, but they felt good. Justice served cold. 2 weeks later, I was sorting Dad's stuff in the house, my house. His study hit hardest. Stacked with decades of records and mementos. Carla came to grab her junk, supervised by lawyers. I found a hidden desk drawer with a journal, Dad's notes on her every move, secret calls. Late night snooping. He'd played her like a fiddle. The cops dug deeper, uncovering $300,000 she tried to swipe in his final weeks. Turned out she'd run this con on other rich guys before. Dad was just the one who beat her at it. I threw myself into the business, growing it my way. The team rallied around me. Many remembered me as the kid Dad bragged about. One night, Carla's son Michael called. Elena, I'm sorry. We knew what Mom was doing. Your dad deserved better. It was a shock, but it clicked. Her own flesh saw the truth. I kept pushing. Launching a scholarship in Dad's name for real estate hopefuls. The first winner? A girl whose dad had given everything for her, just like mine. When Carla showed up for her last haul, she looked rough, no more polish. She tried claiming stuff, Mom's clock, Dad's antiques, but James shut her down with old photos proving they were ours. You think you've won, she hissed as she left. But you'll end up alone like him. I stepped out steady. Dad was never alone. He had me, real family. You never got that. The door shut and the house breathed free. A year later, I'm in Dad's, my office, closing a new deal. The business is booming, built on his values. Carla's fraud rap sheet finally caught up. She's a pariah now. The house feels alive again. Mom's art back on the walls, that clock ticking steady. I found one last letter from Dad. Elena, success isn't just wealth, it's integrity. You've made me proud. The real win. Living his truth, proving good outlasts greed every time.